Okay, and I'm back. That's that's really fun to do and just click off and click back on. Anyway, a couple nights ago I was corresponding with Nicole, and Nicole had mentioned that she needed to get going on Ebenezer's Christmas. And if you remember, she's making this for her sister for Christmas and had started it last year and carried it over to this year and really, really, really wants to get it done. So this is what Ebenezer's Christmas looks like. Pam stitching between the lines, and I think Marlene stitching by the lake are all doing this, and there are several other people doing this as well. It's such a sweet pattern. It's really neat. You can do it. It's a great pattern. It's several pages long, and they show finishes for doing it in little individual pieces. And I almost want to do those as well as the big piece. I think those are so neat, but I'm not exactly sure I'll have time to stitch it again. So it looks like this. And anyway, I told Nicole that I would be a good supportive stitching friend and work on it yesterday, knowing that she was going to have to work on it yesterday and probably this weekend. And then she was trying to get the trees at the top done, and I was already almost finished with the trees. I had 2 left. So I finished those up. I had last night to myself, and I really probably should have gotten together with a friend and done something with a friend, but the prospect of having a whole evening to myself was just, it was too it was too enticing. So I stayed home. I was in my pajamas by like 5 o'clock, and I just worked. I worked on stitching this until I kind of got distracted by the dogs and had to go do some other things. And then got up early this morning. Nicole is going to a stitching gathering or meetup today, and said this is the only thing she's taking with her. And I said, okay, well then I'll be there with you in spirit, and I'll work on this as well today. So when I'm done, I've kind of cleaned up the house and had my shower and done everything I that wanted to have finished before everybody gets home at 2 o'clock today. But so now I'll be able to, I think, just stitch kind of the rest of the afternoon. So this is my progress on Ebenezer's Christmas. And I'm using a little bit different. I'm using fabric that was dyed by me. I think I dyed this using Rit dyes, not coffee tea. And then I'm using a little bit different colors of red and greens on this. And I can look those up if anybody's interested in what color. I think I'm using Classic Colorworks. No, I don't have it. I don't have the threads here with me. I have them downstairs. I'm pretty sure it's Classic Colorworks. And I tell you what, those flosses are really sweet to work with. They are just lovely. They don't tangle hardly at all. And it's kind of like stitching with butter. They're pretty. And nice, real sort of, the green especially has a really subtle variegation. I don't think you're going to be able to see it here. But the red I really love the variegation in the red. You can see from the darker to the lighter, more brighter red. I think that's really pretty. So I'm excited to get this finished. I don't think this will be finished for this year. I'll probably work on it for the rest of today, and then I more than likely will put it away until after the holidays, just because I have so many other things to do. Because we're hosting Thanksgiving, I really, really wanted to get my needle punch Pumpkin Hill done. And so that's what I worked on almost exclusively, I think, Tuesday and Wednesday after I got the snowman done. I still would like to get this done for next week, but I don't think I guess I maybe could. I don't know. I should probably work on this today instead of Ebenezer's Christmas. But this is where I'm to on Pumpkin Hill. So when I showed it to you last, I only had part of the grass filled in over here and just a little bit of the background, and I didn't have any of these pennies done up here. I didn't have Pumpkin Hill in there. I didn't have any of the, you can't even tell those are birds. There's 2 birds sitting on those. I'm going to have to re-punch those birds. They're washing out too much. But then I still have all of this black background to go, and so I don't know, that's kind of how it looks there. I was thinking of turning this into a little pouch and putting some fall flowers in it, and then just hanging it from a handle on a cabinet or something. That's kind of what was my thought. And I have some really pretty velveteen fabric that Caitlin brought me back from Hong Kong. She spent a year in Hong Kong 2 years ago, and she brought me back some really pretty velveteen fabric, and I thought I could use that on the back of this, and that would make a neat little pouch. But anyway, I'm happy with it. I'm not getting much done. So then I didn't work on this, but I did dye some more fabric using the coffee tea and then baking process that Priscilla and Chelsea use, and I picked out and kitted up. I remember when I said that I was going to switch over and use, because Ryan didn't like hot cocoa, I was going to use Ryan's hot cocoa ornament and make that for Maddie. But I forgot that I actually bought one for Maddie specifically for her. She loves, and I think I've shown you this before, she loves to bake, and she bakes all the time, and she's 10 times, both of my girls are better bakers than I am. Actually, Ryan's even a better baker than I am. Ryan actually really likes to bake too. For Thanksgiving, we always have a kid bake-off. So generally for Thanksgiving, we have cousins with us. And I have 3 nieces who are super close to my kiddos. And so generally, my kids will invite their friends plus their cousins and have a kid bake-off the day before Thanksgiving. And then on Thanksgiving Day or evening, when we eat dessert, we judge all of their different baking or whatever dessert making things. And the winner gets a prize. Now this year, because of when Ryan's getting into town and we don't have the nieces with us this year, sadly, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to do that, but they do love to, they all love to bake, but Maddie in particular is a great baker. So I had gotten her this to do, Baked Goods by Little House Needleworks. So, I always want to start things when I show them on FlossTube. It's crazy. And then either for Caitlin and Caleb or for me and Brian, I got Deck the Halls, which is the little old couple. I still really want to make this for Caitlin and Caleb. They're really not into primitive, but I think that's a funny little couple. I think that's a funny little couple to show. So I did up some fabric for these two, and this turned out really nice and dark. Look at that. Ooh, I like this. Really nice and dark and rich, and yeah, I was really, really happy with how that turned out. So I'm going to do Baked Goods and Deck the Halls with that. Okay, the last thing I worked on just a little bit, when am I at 7 minutes, was Praiseworthy Stitches. And I showed this last time and asked if anyone had ever heard of these people or if they were new. And everybody said, oh no, they've been around for a long time. I think Ingeborg said that she has a really old pattern from them. And this has to rank right up there with the Hawk Run Hollow pieces. I love this. This is so sweet. So I did get a start on this, and this is really fun to work on. I'm using NPI silks, right? I think that's what I'm using on this. And I didn't get much done. Just the start of Santa in his sleigh. I love how it's looking on this fabric that Julie picked out. This is a new needle minder that Marlene sent me that I just love. And then this is a McKenna Stitching in Sequins needle minder, little Christmas owl. I love him too. So anyway, I would love to just, I don't know, I'm sort of tempted to kind of spend the day working on that and just, I don't want to say the word that I'm thinking, but not worry about anything else. So that's my stitching. I have done no rug hooking, just a little bit here and there. I haven't felt like it. I just haven't felt like it. And I just definitely, pretty much as everybody else says, I definitely go in spurts of what I want to do. And I just haven't felt like it. I have about an hour left to hook on my cookie cutter rug. And then I want to start the red truck with the Christmas tree rug, and I just haven't felt like it. So maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about books because I am a huge reader. I love to read. I certainly don't read as much as I used to. When I would just do one project, like when I would have just one rug going and nothing else, or just one cross stitch and nothing else, I read a lot more, because if I'd get tired of the project, then I would read. But I recently discovered, my sister introduced me to audio. I've always known about audiobooks, of course, that you can put, the books that came on tape and then on CD that you could put in and listen to. And we've done that often on trips, long trips. But I didn't know that there was this thing called audio where you could buy books, popular books and current bestsellers for very reasonably priced, I think, and listen to them on your iPad or your phone. And so my sister introduced me to it, and I'm so hooked because I can listen to a book and stitch at the same time. And it's actually almost better than watching a movie or watching Floss Tube because you don't have to look up ever. And so I've only been doing this for the last several months, and I've listened to several great books. And the latest one, and I just finished it this morning, is Uncommon Type by Tom Hanks. And it's narrated by Tom Hanks. And it is a book of short stories. I think there are 17 or 19 short stories in the book. And when I first saw that Tom Hanks had recently released a book that, it's a regular book as well as an audiobook, and that he narrated the audiobook, I was very interested. And then when I heard that it was short stories, I was very turned off because I'm usually not into short stories. But I went ahead, it's Tom Hanks, right? So I went ahead and got it, and it was so much fun, you guys. It was such a I recommend it, whether you want to listen to it on audio or you want to read the actual book. It is such a good book. It's set, like I said, 17 or 19 stories, all woven, not tied together, but they all have a typewriter, something about a typewriter in the stories. And some of the stories take place in other countries. One of the stories takes place on a ship mostly. One of the, some of them are current day, some of them go back in time. There's a time travel story, which was one of my favorites. And each one better than the next. And then the very last one, so he narrates the whole thing, and he does accents, and he does kind of women's voices, sort of like if you were reading to your child. That's kind of how he reads. And then, but the very last story is narrated by a whole bunch of very, very famous actors and actresses. And I caught on to that right away. And there's music tied to that one as well. And it's a really, really super cute story. So I really, really recommend that. And if you get a chance, I think the audio for that, just because it's Tom Hanks, and you can and of course, every male lead character in every story, I was picturing Tom Hanks. And then because I was in Tom Hanks mode last night, my husband got for me to watch last night because he didn't care to watch it. Sully, the movie Sully with Tom Hanks about Chester Sullivan, the U.S. Airways pilot that landed the plane in the Hudson when they hit birds hit on takeoff from not LaGuardia, maybe LaGuardia. They took off and they hit flocks of geese on both sides, and this happened in 2009. I'm sure y'all remember. Anyway, it's not a cute movie. It's a very good movie. Very interesting how it's, of course, that was just a very short thing that happened, but it's interesting to see how they investigated it, and how really in the beginning they were really blaming Sully for crash landing in the Hudson, and weren't thinking about the fact that he saved 155 people. So it's a great one. My next audiobook is, I haven't started it yet, I'll start it here in a little bit, is Jacob T. Marley, and it's written by R. William Bennett. And I got that because I love all things Christmas Carol, as you can see by Ebenezer's Christmas. And I have no idea what it's about, but I thought it would be a fun read for Christmas, and it came up on my recommendations in audio, and I thought that would be kind of fun to listen to. So that's it. I won't talk to you guys until after Thanksgiving. I hope everybody is doing well, enjoying fall, and preparing for a lovely Thanksgiving. Just great talking to you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.